Ladies and gentlemen, the next United States Heavyweight Champion, Ravishing Rick Rude!
There's nothing in my dreams, just some ugly memories. Kiss me like the ocean breeze.
Please welcome the newest members of the Dangerous Alliance, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko.
Real be my lover, I will shiver and sing.
The world's greatest athlete and newest member of the Dangerous Alliance, the world's TV champion, Stunning Steve Austin.
Nothing left alive but a pair of glassy eyes. Raise my feelings one more time.
Please welcome one of Sting's best friends and a little stinger himself, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful Bobby Eaton. It's not an army, it's not a stable, and it's not a family. It's an alliance of businessmen who will bring WCW down to its knees.
North-South Connection, welcome to episode number 2 of 20 of our, I don't know if it's really a mini-series because we have 20 episodes in the last 10 months, but welcome to number 2 episode of 7 Months of Danger. I am your host, Shawn Kidd, and this episode we are going to cover, last episode we covered Halloween Havoc, we covered the history of 91 WCW, and we got the debut of Rick Rude, and we talked about matches and all the players that are coming in now. They're all here, and now we're going to continue the journey on getting to the moment where we actually debut and get to the Dangerous Alliance. So we're going to continue that journey. We are looking at, like I said, November 2nd, 1991. But before we jump into it, I would like to introduce my co-hosts. The first of one of my adopted sons, Logan Crossland. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Dad. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Hey, at least I said adopted and not like, child I didn't know about that now's my child. You're adopted, so that we've stepped up in the world.
Oh, okay, I got you. I appreciate that that improvement in my status. So
yeah, it's a serious pod. The other thing I would have said probably would have been very inappropriate for this show.
100%.
My second adopted son, Scott Shiflett. How are you?
I'm glad to be here tonight, Mr. Kidd. So I'm just happy to be here with my brothers and my father.
It's funny. Schiff with the kind of congestion sounds there's like a calming thing in Scott. Like he comes across very like mellow, low key versus I'm really not used to that, Schiff.
I'm sorry, it's just temporary.
It's okay. It's very different. It's very good for a serious podcast.
He's very drunk.
Oh well, that's normal. That's not tonight. Last but not least, he's not an adopted son, but maybe a great distant uncle, Matt Souza.
Oh, jeez.
You're older than me.
No, I'm talking about to my adopted children, not to me.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry my voice doesn't sound like ASMR Shiflett over there, but I'll do my best.
All right.
I'm pretty sure Shiflett is older than Matt. So.
Yes.
I am. Yes.
Well, good hot opening. So let's just jump right into it. So we are going to cover November 2nd, 1991. And we're going to cover the syndicated shows, some matches, the Saturday night show. The majority of tonight is matches. But we do have some little bit of hidden treasures that, from a Saturday night perspective, we get our first view of the WCW magazine that I don't necessarily know if I told you guys I was going to cover it, but I don't know. Did you guys watch the WCW magazine that weekend from the Saturday night show or no?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Oh, good. So I look forward to covering that. All right. So first things first. So we have Havoc. It was only a week earlier. If you remember on our last episode, I went through the history of 91. And in that history, we talked about the WCW, the way they book, the way they tape, and everything out of order. And we really pinpointed the Freebirds winning the World Tag Team titles after they had already lost them. Well, guess what, guys? We're kind of in the same boat because the syndicated shows at this point were in the bag. Halloween Havoc was last weekend. So all these matches were taped before Halloween Havoc. But what I like is I don't necessarily know when they tape these matches. I think they were taped literally 3 weeks before Halloween Havoc, if I do the math on it. But what I like is we actually have several matches tonight involving the future Alliance members to discuss, as well as some focus on Medusa, Rude, and Sting as it plays out a little bit heading into the date that's now been announced for Rude versus Sting, which will be November 19th, and that will be a Clash of the Champions. That's where Sting and Rude will meet for the first time for the U.S. title. Until then, it's a little bit of a slow burn on a journey to the actual formation, where some of the matches they actually book, like I said on the way, I think they actually help in terms of context and formation of where the group is going. So we're going to kick it off with our first match of the weekend of the syndication. We are going to WCW Pro, and our match is Barry Windham versus Arn Anderson. When you immediately hear that, though, you're thinking, wow, this should be great. Two former horsemen. They've had some banger matches over the last, let's see, I think they had their first match maybe in late 86. So here we are in 92. So they've had some banger matches over the last 6 years. I think the last one that I watched before this, we covered on Chicken Salad at Slammiversary in 93, which I wasn't a big fan of, but I believe Schiff, you, Logan, and Ben enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite Arn and Windham match, so I was pretty excited to pick this up here in 1991. And as I said, a lot of history here that JR plays up. We already talked about a lot of the matches they've had over the last 6 years, as well as a lot of matches with them working together in the Horsemen. Most notably them as a tag team in not that long ago in 1990 Starrcade, where they took on Doom, which is probably the match of the night for me there. Obviously, like I said, this also takes place before the Broken Hand, which nonetheless, Arn was a part of. So again, I think it's really good being booked or planned. Either way, it worked out. But there is definitely a miss in this in the hand. Commentary is really weird, and it kind of gives you a little bit of context. JR, he just said, doesn't mention the Horsemen, but just says they were a part of an elite organization. So I thought it was really weird he had mentioned the Horsemen here. He talks about, and this is kind of where the booking was going, because so it's pretty clear that they weren't booking Barry and Dustin for the tag team titles. Barry Windham was going to have a match with Abdullah, and Arn is a tag team champion preparing for the returning Steiner brothers. So we could talk about the Abdullah thing, because that's just out of the blue, and Barry Windham versus Abdullah didn't make a lot of sense. Here's where they kind of screwed the pooch a little bit. Coming out of the Clash, or coming out of the Halloween Havoc, I think this is a miss where they could have probably edited it. Oh, Abdullah is going to be his next match. And again, like I said, I think long-term booking wasn't necessarily premeditated before this was taped before Havoc. Kind of slow feeling out process to start, but gets going after Arn has Windham's head locked between his legs, and Barry headstands and nips out, and he punches Arn in the face. Then he works over Arn's leg with various holds. Arn then works the arm after Windham hits the post. This match really was a story of limb work for sure. If you like the limb work, you know, you might like it. The biggest move to me was a Windham lariat off the second rope, then a power slam. Arn goes for a pile driver by the ropes. Windham backdrops it, but Arn grabs Barry over and holds the rope for a surprise 3. Ron Simmons comes out, which again is weird. Ron is not, he's literally a week removed at this point, taking on Luger. So it's really weird for me to see him coming out here to help Windham. It just didn't add up. So I guess they had this vision for Simmons after Havoc, knowing that he's probably going to lose. Simmons comes out to protest. Really weird. The ref doesn't even hesitate to restart it, and Barry rolls Arn up immediately for the 3. It's interesting for me. The ref didn't hesitate to believe Simmons. And basically what this does is this will set up a tag team match that we'll see on our next episode. I could definitely see some not liking it due to the slower limb pace, and they definitely had better matches in the 80s for sure. But for me, it's kind of an average syndicated main event with 2 people that probably should have done better. I actually only went 2 1/4 on this. So Schiff, I'll go to you. What did you think of this match?
I liked at the very beginning how Windham got out of working of head scissors. I thought that was very nice. And like how you said how like JR brought up the Horseman history without saying it. I guess they were worried that people watching at home were going to start chanting, "We want Flair" as well. So, I did like the limb work that was done. Like Arn was selling his knee, and then he was working the arm. I thought that was very nice. And like you said, that lariat from the second turnbuckle was very nice. Like we had a nice little throw on the rope, which is, I'm learning is JCP staple. And then like Arn wins by the foot on the ropes. I had no recollection of this Ron and Barry tag team, which is very weird, like you said, with no long-term booking. Because last we saw Barry, he was with Dustin. So it's like, where the hell is Dustin at? I don't know. I guess I was feeling in a good mood. Which will go strictly downhill as we go on with this episode. I went 2 3/4 on this, actually.
Okay. Souza?
So before I get into the match, I just want to clarify something because I think it will affect my rating a little bit on this match. So WCW Pro at this point was kind of like third in command, right? Behind Saturday Night and Worldwide.
It's kind of interesting because Pro really is the third string show for the history of, like, even in Crockett era, Pro is the third stringer once it debuts. Yes,
Right.
It's a third stringer. Yes.
So that makes this match make a little bit more sense to me because I mean this is a big match to throw out there on Pro, and if it's a third tier show, you're not going to see these two guys go completely balls out. So that actually makes a little bit more sense to me, and I think it actually improves my rating because this match felt very house show to me.
Yeah, that's where I was at. Like, very house show. Yes.
Yeah, like they're just kind of, and I mean everything looks good. It's not like they're just sitting in a hold, like a rest hold. Everything looks good, but it's a lot of holds and it's just there's not much happening. It's super tentative, it's super methodical. I feel like Arn was working a hammerlock for like more than half of this match, which I mean was fine because it's Arn working it and Arn makes everything look great, but it was still a fucking hammerlock for 5 minutes. So it definitely missed something. I think the finish kind of came out of nowhere. So, yeah, overall not the best. So I ended up going right down the middle with this. I went 2.5 on it.
All right, Logan.
I went 2.5 as well. I kind of agree with a lot of what Matt said. There were some pretty big bombs thrown early. They kind of went back and forth. Arn constantly using some underhanded tactics to steal the momentum when Barry was trying to, really get the momentum building in his favor. I like how Ross talked about how close they were when they were part of that elite organization. So I like that he kind of showed about their relationship that they had while they were there. Barry's athleticism for his size is always incredible to me. How he can leapfrog over other humans is pretty incredible because he's a huge freaking dude. Good focus limb work by both guys. Arn on the shoulder, Barry on the leg. And Pee Wee's going to get some shit for me on this match because he took the babyface's word for it on the cheating at the end and kind of restarted the match. So I thought that was kind of bullshit. But I agreed with Matt with the 2.5. So.
All right, so I'm the low one on the totem pole. I went 2.25. And again, it's not. I guess for me, I expect more out of this. I think Matt brings up a really good point about being a pro in the third tier, so they didn't go all out. But for me, a house show match for me is probably very rarely going to go below 2.25 if it feels house show to me, just to be honest. So, but yeah, decent. But for the pro show, very solid weekend main event if you're tuning into it. Like, I'll definitely see that. So where do we end up on that one, Logan?
2.5.
2.5 across the board. So we're good to go there. So 2.5 Matt. So we're off to a good start. Now we're going to go over to Worldwide. And I'm going to shit all over this next match. This is Bobby Eaton versus Johnny B. Bad. And Worldwide Wrestling at this point, I guess they were trying different things or whatever. And this is a submit or surrender match, which for context, hey, sounds great. But I really didn't understand if there's not like a feud or a blood feud, what's the point of it? Because it sounds really stupid. Bobby is the face in this. So apparently, like I said, this is a gimmick match. They are running the next few weeks. Johnny is the heel here, and he's still with Teddy Long. You can lose by submission, surrender, or person if he can't answer a 10 count, which I guess takes away submit or surrender, which, again, it's a pretty stupid gimmick. And, again, just really, really random. I did love, by the way, we talked about Bobby's, like, great wrestling. His worked punches are amazing. Like, he's got some of the best punches in wrestling, and his worked punches in here look good. Tony says that coming up, Bobby will be teaming up with Flying Brian Pillman, and they will make a good team. So, again, this random booking, because they pre-tape everything, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Just ridiculous. Bobby and Bad hit multiple hit toss reversals, which ends with Bad taking a pretty decent bump over the top to the floor. Bad hits a nice sunset flip across the ring from the top. Too bad pinfalls don't count here, so logic made no sense. Bobby does a small package, too, and I was basically wondering at this point, what the fuck do these guys even know what type of match this is? Tony claims it's just instinct to cover up for the idiocy. Both men collide in-ring and go down. Ref does a fast 10 count on both. It's announced at this point, first men defeat win. Teddy got in Bad's face, and the ref tries to get Teddy off the apron. In Bobby's face, and tries to get Teddy off the apron. Bad is up behind the ref and goes to get Bobby, and Bobby knocks the shit out of him. Ref turns around and sees Bobby up and Johnny down and declares Bobby the winner, which again makes no sense because Bad was halfway up in front of the ref when he was dealing with Teddy. So this match made zero sense with a stip that made zero sense, and it's fucking stupid. I went 1 star. Logan?
I agree with you. I went 1 star as well. When I start my match notes out with outfits and hair comments, it's probably not a good sign. But my first comment is Bad looks like a bumblebee with his outfit on, and Bobby's mullet is at peak awesomeness. So really great mullet going on here. There's way too much stalling in this one. Rest holds are aplenty in this one as well. Bobby and Bad just don't seem to be on the same page as the match goes deeper and deeper. They keep botching stuff. They keep seeming like they're going for different things at different times. There was a pretty nasty backbreaker that Heaton hit at one point, which I thought was a pretty good spot. But the first man to his feet finish is so stupid. I hated it. So dumb. I gave it 1 just because I love Heaton so much. But yeah, this was not good.
hey, hot take. Johnny B. Bad early in his career sucks. Hot take. Just telling you, he was never
I don't think that's a hot take. I
don't
think he gets great until like 94-ish.
I was being sarcastic.
I see.
Kind of like hot take. Bobby Eaton's a great wrestler. Hot take. Johnny B. Bad sucks. So, Schiff, what'd you think? All right.
That's what that match was.
All right, Souza. No, go ahead, Schiff.
Jeez.
I mean, dude, it was so bad. Like, first off, they were trying to do pins in a submit or surrender match. That pisses me off when the wrestlers don't even know the rules. Like, what the hell's going on? And then the stupid, like, whoever gets up first wins, and Bobby wins. It's a 1-star match. It's lucky it's not a dud.
Agreed. Souza, you want to close this debacle out?
All right, let me give my my history of this match here, because the first time I watched it, I must have been like in some state of fucking euphoria, because I originally went like 2.5 on this match.
I remember I freaking went nuts on you.
I know you did. So then after you lost your shit at me, I watched it again, and I still didn't go as low as you guys. I went 1.5 stars on it.
Much better.
But I don't know what the fuck I was thinking when I originally rated this 2.5. I must have been like high or something. I don't know what the hell happened. Yeah, I mean, some of what they did in this match was good. The problem was it was in the wrong fucking match, I think. Like, they were working this match like it was a regular match, and it was a match based around submissions, and they didn't do very many submissions. And then the finish is very stupid, and it's a submit or surrender match for reasons that I can't figure out, because they just decided it to be. I guess they were doing like a month of submit or surrender matches or something like that. I don't know. That makes no fucking sense. Like, it's a match that should probably be reserved for a feud. I'm no expert, but yeah. So I came to my senses, and I went 1.5 stars on this, because much like I can't give an Arn Anderson match lower than 1 star, I don't think I can give a Bobby Eaton match lower than 1.5 stars. So.
All right. So, so this match gets the honor of the Eaton. Can't go lower than a certain star on an Eaton match. But yeah, this is just hot freaking garbage. So let's go to our next match, which is also on Worldwide. Barry Windham having his working boots on this syndicated weekend. By the way, guys, hint, all these matches were taped at the same time. They do like 3 or 4 of these like syndicated shows.
Shawn,
yeah.
You don't want the Loganomics on that one?
Oh, my bad. I was just going to say shit, but go ahead.
It's okay. Schiff, what did you go on? And I missed your rating.
1 star.
All right. It will be a 1.125.
All right, now it is our new officially worst match we've watched. It actually scores less than the Patriots match from the last episode, right?
Correct.
All right, so we got our new crap. So see, the Patriots aren't as bad as you think, Souza.
Want to bet?
All right, so all these matches, by the way, that we talk about tonight, were all taped. The syndicated shows were all taped at the same time. So they do like 3 or 4 syndicated show tapings in one taping. So the next match is Barry Windham once again taking on the other half of the Enforcers, Zbyszko. And for me, again, I love Wyndham, and I'm probably one of the chosen few that actually enjoyed his feud with Zbyszko. Now, their match that they had in 1988 for the Western States title at the, I guess, whatever is it, that Bunkhouse Stampede match is utter garbage. But the feud itself was really good. So, as we said, Barry gets the other enforcer on same weekend. Long history, like I said, as they've feuded over the Western States title in late 87, early 88. And Larry won the title. They're the only two to ever hold that title. This is also before the Barry hand break, again, as it was taped at the same time. This is the main event, but it's actually the first match on this week's Worldwide. By the way, we also get a bonus outro to commercial in this match of Van Hammer cosplaying as a guitarist. Did you guys catch that?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious because he's so bad.
It popped me a little bit just because of the sheer atrocity that Van Hammer is. Larry rips up a fan Barry sign, and the screaming fan is very upset by this as a crowd boos Larry like he absolutely murdered someone. Like, people legit hate Larry Zbyszko. Like, he doesn't even have to do anything. You just look at him and you immediately want to hate it because he's a little piece of shit.
Relatable.
Angry old man. And it's weird, again, as Tony says, Barry and Simmons are making strides up the ladder as a team. So it's very clear based on our first match and them bringing it up here that the initial plan was Barry and Ron to team together. Oh, but let's not forget Barry also has a singles match coming up with a Duel of the Butcher. So again, clearly when they signed Rude, they went different routes because commentary so far, again, has different stories. Crowd loves Barry. I did enjoy Tony referencing the Western States title history between the two. I thought that brought, for me as an old school fan, that brought me in. Barry is super fast for a big guy and running the ropes to this, which is impressive. And he takes a big bump over the top rope. Again, that looked absolutely savage and impressive for his size. Larry yelling at the crowd to me is pretty great. As he beats up Wyndham, he's just yelling at the crowd. As Wyndham walks, make a comeback, out walks Arn. Wyndham hits a sunset flip for 3. Crowd goes nuts. The enforcer pounces until Simmons makes the save. Crowd is hot. And again, set up the tag that we'll see on our next episode. So we've had 2 matches tonight that have set up the tag team main event that we'll see on one of the episodes when we do our next pod episode. Really kind of simple booking 101 to build to that match between the two teams. The match was okay. A lot of Larry stalling and his offense is kind of paint by numbers. But Barry's energy is really great. His presence with intensity in terms of his size, along with a hot crowd that was clearly behind him. I liked his match with Arn. I actually might have liked this match a little bit more. I'm going 2.5 on this. And I think part of that half-star might be I just enjoy Larry talking and yelling at people that hate him so much. I can't get enough of it. Suze, I'm going to go to you first.
2.5. Jesus H. Christ.
You're watching the same match?
Yeah.
Barry was really good in this match. That's how I felt.
Yeah, sure. Barry was really good. Unfortunately, Larry fucking sucked.
You can't tell me that. Okay, so Larry might suck, but you can't tell me you're not entertained by him just freaking yapping his mouth off.
Yes, you know why I'm entertained by him yapping his mouth off? Because he's not fucking wrestling. There's the difference.
I mean, isn't that better?
I mean, that's a valid point. Oh, God. This is just, it's a Larry Zbyszko match through and through. There's all kinds of stalling. He's taking Wyndham to fucking Larry Land through this entire fucking match.
How do you say Larry? How does he say Larry Land?
Take it to Larry Land, you. At one point, Larry screams, "Oh, shut up, you fat slob!" to someone in the crowd.
I love it so much.
And yeah, this match was just a whole lot of nothing, really. It was just super again, very much a match you would have seen on syndicated television. It's just super basic, super boring, and no real big moves so that these guys don't get hurt, especially Larry, who's at an advanced age at this point, I'm sure. So yeah, just way too much stalling and way too much Larry on offense. I only went 1.5 stars on this. I kind of hated this.
Good Lord.
Shift. Kind of hated it.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Susan right here. Like, literally, I have a note here that says nothing is happening. Like, it's pretty impressive for a match to like lull me to sleep. This is close to what it did. Like, I thought it was cool Barry won with the sunset flip, but it's funny because Larry Zbyszko's 4'8" and Barry's like 6'4", so that was a nice visual. But I went 1.5 stars with this, and it's lucky it got that high, but it was so bad.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Logan, did you hate it too?
I won't say I hated it. I did hate portions of it, but I went 2. I kind of went in the middle of both or all of y'all. Larry telling Barry, he said, "Hey Barry, control your fat girlfriend outside," and telling her to shut up was a great way to open the match. So that was a great open.
That's worth half a star, Lo.
I do love Larry, but the stalling does get annoying after a while. I'll agree with the other guys. Barry dominates the portions that aren't being stalled through until Larry kind of uses some momentum that Barry had running at him and dumps him outside of the ring. Larry from there kind of keeps the attack on the outside, gets him back in the ring, and constantly goes for covers to try to catch Barry off guard. And then Barry actually uses that same tactic to get the catch him off guard and hit the sunset flip for the win. But like I said, I went 2. It wasn't great, but I didn't hate it, I'll say.
All right. Well, clearly my 2.5 is way off from you. Again, maybe it's just because of certain things I enjoyed. Barry, it's kind of like you guys with Eaton. It's kind of the same way with Wyndham. If Wyndham does Wyndham things as a big guy, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to go a little bit higher. And then Larry just not wrestling and yelling at people. I could probably watch all Larry matches and be entertained by that because the match is probably better if he's not wrestling. That's how I feel. We'll see how that plays out. By the way, how old do you think Larry is in this match?
78.
7.
No, be honest. No, seriously.
46.
Logan, is that your guess? 46?
Yes.
All right, Matt.
I'll say he's 41.
Okay. Schiff.
I'll say 43.
He is 3 weeks away from his 40th birthday. He is 39.
That doesn't make any
Christ
goddamn
almighty.
sense.
He was born on December 5th, 1951. This is November 2nd, 1991.
He's no younger. He's no younger than 75.
He ages like fine wine, just like Arnie Anderson.
He fucking ages like milk. Who are you kidding?
Yeah.
39 fucking years old this guy is.
Jesus Christ almighty.
All right, what was the final tally on that one, Logan?
1.875. So it's
All
our
right.
third worst match so far.
All because of Shawn's 2.5.
Well,
He buoyed that one.
Yeah.
There might be people on this pod that have done that to an all-time bad match that ruined it because they gave them a higher score than everybody else that lit.
I know what you're talking about.
Yep, kayfabe. All right, so now we're gonna go to WCW Saturday Night this weekend. It is interesting because JR is definitely dubbed in here because it's after the events of Havoc. He mentioned some of that. I do want to talk about the WCW magazine. So it's with Eric, and it covers Rude and Medusa and matches for the upcoming November 19th Clash that are announced. And it's way better, this card, than Havoc was for free. So listen to this match, this card. Luger versus Rick Steiner for the world title. Sting versus Rick Rude for the U.S. title. Brian Pillman versus Johnny B. Bad. Barry and Dustin versus the Enforcers. Van Hammer versus Cactus Jack. Big Josh versus Thomas Rich. This TV title match. I can't wait to watch this match. Sunny Steve Austin taking on PN News for the World TV title. The Z-Man versus the Diamond Stud. Richard Morton versus Arachnaman, who is another yet repackaged Brad Armstrong from Bad Street to Arachnaman. And Bobby Eaton will take on Chip the Firebreaker. So
That's Firebreaker Chip.
all right. Well, I'm referencing our last pod where he's called Chip the Firebreaker. Okay, so guys, any initial early thoughts on this card, Schiff? What do you think? Because a lot of these matches look like freaking bangers just right out of the gate and better than Havoc to me.
I mean, we have Sting in a real match with Rude, which should be great. The main event, pretty interesting. I know a lot of people don't like Rick Steiner as, singles, but I liked him over Tenda at Starrcade in '88. And also the Enforcers versus, Dustin and Barry seemed like a great team and has a built-in story from what we saw at Halloween Havoc. It looks on paper better than Havoc, like you said.
And there might be something that happens in that match that might be an all-time moment that I look forward to talking about. Might be an all-time match too, but we're a little bit of ways from there. Susan, what do you think about the card?
Who the fuck did Bobby Eaton piss off that he's going to try and get a good match out of that slug Firebreaker Chip?
Okay, so let me give you context. There is a reason and rationale behind why that match happens on our journey to it, and I'll leave that alone at this point. There's actually a storyline that causes it, believe it or not, which is mind-blowing.
Good
The
God.
fucking Chip the Firebreaker gets a storyline.
Oh, great. I can't wait to watch Firebreaker Chip attempt to be a wrestler. That sounds fantastic. But yeah, I mean, it's a good clash on paper. The tag title match could be a banger. Sting and Rude should be really good. And Austin versus PN News is also there. So
Yeah, it's like 5 stars waiting to happen.
more like PN Snooze.
Logan, what are your thoughts on the card?
Matt, can I hear Steve Austin do PN News' music by chance?
Goddamn pal, yo baby, yo baby, yo.
Beautiful. But yeah, I think it looks like a pretty solid card. There's a few possible stinkers in there, but for the most part, pretty good, solid card for sure.
Yeah, I think there's 3 to 4 solid ones in there that just look like they could be really, really good. So, so definitely sets it up on free TV, which the minute I saw this card, I mean, what was I, 91? So at this point, I was 18. 18-year-old Shawn was all over this shit. So I was super excited. Then we go to Eric says Medusa has made an impact and said, let's get to some comments. And we get a video of Bambi. Do any of you know or recollect who Bambi is?
She was a deer, an animated deer.
They killed her mother.
Her mom died.
Yeah.
Best friend's name was Thumper.
Yep.
No,
seriously. That Bambi was a boy, by the way. It's not her.
Oh, well, my bad. But do you guys have any context around who Bambi was at this time?
No idea.
All right, so Bambi. So you guys have heard of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the offshoot of that tried to become a more serious women's organization was called POW, and it's a Powerful Women of Wrestling. They called it POW. And Bambi was one of the headliners of POW, and she's actually a pretty good, decent wrestler. And so I think and again, it's interesting because what ends up happening with Medusa isn't what they kind of framework in this little segment, because it looks like here they're trying to build a women's division, right? Mm-hmm. So basically we go to a video of Bambi winning a match, and Medusa attacks her from behind. I don't remember any of this from 1991, and I don't necessarily think we see Bambi ever again after this show. Eric is with Medusa, and he asks her what her agenda is. She said she's the first lady of WCW. She brings up York, who's a nerd, basically calls Lady Blossom a hooker, and then calls Missy Hyatt Miss Hollywood, and says this is for all the men too, insinuating she's going to go kick all the men's ass. She's going to kick some ass. Really weird promo, and the Bambi thing was odd, and no really reference to the national, no reference whatsoever to the Dangerous Alliance. So it's very clear they don't have a thought in their fucking head at this point, based on where they tape this stuff, of any of this going. They must have signed Rick Rude later in the game, because there's no sign of this. And it's so. Oh, by the way, back to Eric, and he says Barry is keeping his injury extent a secret, and the National Dairy Board wants you to send us to Starrcade Battle Bowl. Or National Dairy Board wants all of us to go to Starrcade Battle Bowl, and the National Dairy Board. I guess we can thank them for what we talk about when we get to Battle Bowl 91. So then we transition. By the way, any thoughts on this? Suze, I'll go to you. What did you think about this whole thing with Medusa? A little weird based on where we know this goes. I thought it was really out of context.
Yeah, it's definitely weird, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It feels like they didn't know that the Dangerous Alliance was going to be a thing yet, so it's definitely weird. And I think Medusa's promo, like what she was saying, I thought was good, but the way she got there was not. There was something about her delivery was off, and I don't know. It kind of felt to me like it was her first time with a microphone, which we know obviously it wasn't. But I thought it was a pretty rough promo, and this whole thing just kind of came out of nowhere. Like I honestly, I wasn't expecting. I knew Medusa was a part of the Dangerous Alliance, obviously, but I didn't think she was wrestling. I thought she was strictly like a valet or a manager or something. I wasn't expecting to see Medusa in the ring. I'll say that.
And by the way, let's talk. I forgot to mention Bambi's very almost like Billy Ray Cyrus type hair on a female, which is very, very interesting. I forgot to mention that. Schiff, anything on this segment?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of enjoyed seeing the Medusa beat up Bambi.
It was It was actually a good beating. I thought. Yeah.
And her saying she wants to be the first lady at WCW, I did enjoy, and she actually called out everyone. Yeah, the promo wasn't great, but I never thought Medusa was, aces on promos anyway. So this was pretty much the same as I feel for any promo she's ever done.
Okay, Logan.
Yeah, I think Medusa sucks pretty bad. I won't hold back. She wants to become the first lady of wrestling. It's mostly because nobody else is around to take her spot. But yeah, I think she pretty much sucks all around. If I'm being honest.
Wow, I did not know you felt that way about her.
Yep.
All right, so then we're going to transition over to our first look at the WCW Top 10. So, number 10, Bill Kazmaier.
Oh, Jesus
Christ.
Number 9, Abdullah the Stapler. Number 8, the Stapler guy from Office Space. Number 8, Cactus. How is Tom Zink ranked ahead of Cactus and Abdullah? So he's number 7. Number 6, Rick Steiner. Number 5, Dustin Rhodes. Number 4, Barry Windham. Number 3 is Ron Simmons. Number 2 is Steve Austin. Number 1 is Sting. And your world heavyweight champion is Luger. I mean, you go 1 through 6, it don't look too bad. After that, it kind of, I mean, even I guess for the time, Cactus and Abdullah should be there, but Kazmaier in the top 10. I mean, what are we doing? And by the way, where the hell did Eaton go? Why is Eaton not in the top 10?
That's what I mean. They're pissed off at him for some reason. He's not even there.
He must have blew the pumpkin promo.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
He must have blew the promo. So that's our top 10.
It's not the only thing he blew.
It's a family pod. Number 4 match that we're going to talk about tonight. So we got the promo. Now we're going to go to the actual match of Medusa versus Bambi. JR says Medusa has quit the feud going, has kept the feud going with Bambi and takes us to a match for Columbus between them. Medusa is in this weird black getup and trucker hat. I remember Bambi at this, like I said earlier, being pretty good. JR says this is one of the most heated feuds in women's wrestling. I like how we've had one instance between them, and that's now the hottest feud in women's wrestling. Medusa beats absolute shit out of Bambi with kicks. As JR says, she's a walking weapon trained in the Orient. JR brings up all the ladies Medusa brought up. Wonders if they are, and again, at this point, you wonder if they're really actually trying to create a ladies division. Medusa lays on Bambi and works her arm and a crossface. Medusa is thrown to the corner, flips over it, knocks the cameraman who took a bigger bump, I thought, which was really great, even though I thought it was by mistake. I thought Bambi was okay on the offense, including a bulldog for 2. Medusa, I thought, hit a sick-looking German suplex for 3. The note I made, Logan, I know you hate her, but I put Medusa can German me anytime. JR says a big rivalry, so JR says this is a big rivalry, and it's coming to your town soon. I didn't hate it. Women's wrestling was really a non-factor in 1991, especially in WCW. But I thought it was actually a solid enough showcase. And earns a little cred, I thought, for the finish and a cameraman bump. I actually went 1.5 on this, and that might be too much, but I really didn't hate it. Schiff, what'd you think?
I agree with you, Shawn. I didn't hate it as well. I liked how JR gave her backstory.
Yeah.
That's something JR is known for and really good in my opinion. Medusa had a nice crossface and she was working the arm, and the German suplex from Medusa was very nice. I went 1.5 stars as well. I enjoyed that. Like, I was shocked at how much I enjoyed a 1991 women's match.
Yeah, that Bambi can go, huh?
Yeah, it was all her.
Sousa?
Yeah, I thought this was better than I was expecting. I mean, it still wasn't great by any stretch, but definitely better. And I thought they both worked hard, so I ended up going 1 star on it. So it was perfectly fine. But Bambi looks like the lead singer of Mr. Big, and it's great that she's able to wrestle in honor of her mother who was killed in a forest. So yeah, 1 star.
Hey Matt, hypothetically, what would Bobby Eaton sound like singing "Be With You"?
Jesus fuck, I'm gonna need time for that one.
All right, well, you brought it up and it just popped in my head, so I might be the only one that knows what that even means, by the way. So just
little girl.
Okay. By the way, this that song very popular in this time frame. This was like the kind of where it was at. So Mr. Big, Be With You. That's yeah.
This was in between that 6 months they were big. Yeah.
Logan, what do you think of this match?
I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, I guess.
You really hate Medusa, don't you? Like, is there a context around why you don't like her so much?
I think she has an elevated opinion of herself, and she really was never that good. But I think this was much less of a squash than I was expecting it to be. Medusa does kick her ass when she is on offense, but Bambi got more offense than I thought she would. I thought Medusa was equally as uninspiring in this match as she has ever been in any match I've ever seen her in. So I'll give it 1 just because I'll be nice. But yeah, not the
wow.
most.
Who knew? Japan matches a Medusa. Logan doesn't like them.
Which in later years that kind of intersects, so it makes sense.
Oh yeah, hey, good point. Yeah, so that's interesting. We discover new things here on this podcast. So Logan hates Medusa, so I'm gonna have to Rolodex that in my thought process. Rolodex, not leg. Whatever. I fucked up. I pulled it.
1.25 for the
brain
match.
leaky. 1.25. So that. Boy, we're continuing down a really bad stretch of matches this episode.
Sure are.
This show kind of sucks. All right. We got 2 more matches. Our next match, continuing the suck fest, is beautiful Bobby Eaton versus Mr. Hughes. Hughes at this point is the bodyguard of Luger, and he's managed by Harley Race. I did like Bobby giving the big man down with a simple toe hold and working a leg, which I thought was smart. But God, it just keeps the match way too slow. Hughes doesn't do much except choke kick and body slams. Bobby takes a nice headshot to the post. There's typical race interference. Bobby goes to the top for a body press, but Hughes catches him in the air by the throat and shoves him straight down, which I thought looked pretty decent. This match was there and was only to get Hughes over and to bring it up even more. The hate for Bobby Eaton continues. Who did he piss off? This match for me is half a star. This match is absolute freaking butt. Schiff, what'd you think?
Actual note for me, Bobby works the leg. The next note for me, this is making my eyes bleed. Next note, this sucks. Next note, Hughes won with a slam. 1/4 star. This was terrible.
Yeah, god awful. Souza.
God, I fucking hated this so much. Oh my God. It's fucking 10 minutes long and nothing fucking happens. How is that possible? This was like opening match at a 1987 Madison Square Garden house show. Like it's an 8-minute rest hold and then a fucking body slam ends it. Oh God, fuck this. Like seriously, who did Bobby Eaton piss off to lose to Mr. Hughes of all people?
I have a potential hot take coming.
Uh-oh.
Jesus God.
Are we sure Bobby Eaton's good in
What's
singles?
What's that?
Are we sure Bobby Eaton's good in singles?
No, fuck off. He is.
He's great.
It's clearly it's clearly the opponent in this match because we got some Bobby Eaton bangers coming up.
But all I'm saying is, we hear all this stuff like, oh, so and so isn't a good worker because they can't, But it seems like he works down to his opponents.
Not Souza.
That's what it appears to me.
Johnny fucking 1991 be bad, and Mr. Hughes. Let's really put it into context in this, please.
And Terry Taylor. Let's not
Arn
forget
Anderson couldn't get a good match out of the goddamn freaking Patriots, so you can't go that route. Shift got mad.
Yes.
No, I was on mute, but that was like the worst match I've seen in a long time.
Yes, shoot this match into the fucking ocean. I actually went half a star on this. I could be convinced to go lower if you want to be honest.
I mean, I could easily be talked into a 1/4 star too. If you really wanted to do it, I'll go in with you.
You know what?
That's where I went.
Fuck it.
1/4 star.
Dud.
All right.
Dud. I'm going dud. 0. I never want to watch this match again. 0.
All right, take me to a 1/4 star. You got a dud on Matt, a 1/4 on Schiff. Logan, how about you?
Wait, you switched to a 1/4?
Oh, yeah, they convinced me.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the last one. Go for it.
I guess I will have to go down to a 1/4 star as well, because I was at a half star. Just to keep solidarity. So much legwork in this one that Hughes does not even try to sell in the slightest, which is horrible. I'm pretty sure Harley gets as much offense in this match as Hughes does, as I'm pretty sure Harley got 2 offensive moves, and I'm pretty sure that Hughes also got 2. And one of his offensive moves was a gross botch to end the match. So originally went half star, but I'll go down to a 1/4 star.
All right, so Logan, what does that bring this great gem to?
So with 2 zeros and 3/4 stars, that puts us at 0.1875.
There is no way that will be ever topped on this show in the next 20 episodes.
Well, if we keep watching Patriots matches, it might.
I don't know. That's like an all-time. that's gonna be hard to top. So I think we have the contender here for a little while. But yeah, this match is absolute garbage. And let's hope our last and final match of this episode and this weekend on November 2nd, 1991 can be better. So on paper, Enforcers and Steve Austin as a tag team. So again, a 6-man, which again, knowing that long term they haven't booked where they're going with this, I kind of like seeing that now. Their opponents, which I really like as well, is Dustin and Barry Windham. But then you add, for no reason whatsoever, randomly, with his big old freaking gut, and Michael P.S. fucking Hayes. So 5 of these guys could put on a banger. Then you got Michael Hayes. So like, I don't get this. This makes no sense. Anyway, busy weekend for Barry Windham and the Enforcers, because this is the 3rd time we've seen all of them. Well, not really. I mean, we've seen the Enforcers as a whole 3 times, but they've individual single matches. But Barry Windham, this is his 3rd match of this weekend. So definite workhorse. But again, I like the symmetry playing out in the booking, because Dustin and Windham being this with the Enforcers, it just adds up. And they didn't know where they were going in terms of the booking, because clearly they were going with Windham and Simmons, and here they are. So anyway, really good. I like to see this. The Alliance, especially since the Alliance hasn't formed yet. Again, as I said, Michael P.S. fucking Hayes is pretty random partner, and Blossom is still here. They bring up Dustin's grandma is Flash 2 in the crowd, and I said, thank God. Thank God it wasn't Dusty cosplaying as his grandmother. It's probably inappropriate to say that, but JR brings up the Havoc incident with Barry, so again, it's been dubbed in. And the way he tries to cover Barry's hand is says he went to the doctor and he's keeping prognosis to himself. So it's interesting to cover up, again, as this was taped a month ago. I liked Arn bumping for all the faces to start. This time, it's interesting. JR does mention the Horsemen when he talks about the Barry Arn history. So earlier we talked about how he talked about an elite group. He actually brings up the Horsemen here. So I don't know what that was all about. The crowd is hot. Dustin looks so super young, only looks 21. And basically, he looks as good as anyone in this match. It's a back suplex on Larry, which I'm surprised Larry didn't die based on the fact that we all think he's 80. Dustin and Austin work so well together. I think we brought it up on our last episode, the chemistry they have. They work really well together at like a quick left hand, like just at a quick pace. It ends up breaking down with all 3 men. Hayes hits a DDT on Austin. And then Blossom hands Austin a pair of knucks. He wallets Hayes. And then Garvin gets involved. He grabs the knucks for Blossom. Then he throws to Dustin, who nails Austin. And Michael P.S. fucking Hayes pins the World TV champion, stunning Steve Austin for the 3 count. Very weird choice having Michael Hayes pin the TV champ when he's clearly a tag wrestler who shouldn't be at this point, but does seem to set up a TV title match between them. That hint, guys, that we will actually watch on episode 5 of this podcast. Okay. Yeah, so you have that to look forward to. But Dustin, for me, was a true star with Austin. Those 2 together is absolute magic. So I do enjoy the showcase of the young in this. And both really have become players in WCW in a short amount of time. And I thought this match really played that out. It's a decent enough main event for me. Hate who pinned them in the finish, but I'll go 2.5 stars to close this one out. Sousa, what'd you think?
Yeah, this is clearly a case of one of these guys doesn't belong here. I mean, this might be the biggest case of one of these guys doesn't belong here. It's a fine match. It's a quick match. There was a lot of energy in this one, but I feel like it was too quick to really get into the next gear. It almost felt like they were running out of TV time. I think it goes under 10 minutes. Like they were moving through this quick, and I think it hurt the match overall. Like I don't know if it would necessarily be great, but I think there was a chance it could have been better than what we got. So I ended up going the same score as you. I only went 2.5 on this. Just a super fast match. I thought Dustin looked good, like you said, but yeah, it was a fairly standard TV main event here. So 2.5.
All right, Sousa. I'm sorry, not Sousa. Schiff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And Arn's facials at the very beginning of being terrified of Dustin, I thought was very nice. Made me think like Arn was having flashbacks of fighting his dad. So that was a fun little callback. And like you said, Shawn, Dustin and Steve have amazing chemistry together, and I love when the heels are bamboozled with the Nux. Yes, it was shocking that Michael Hayes, old doot, got the pin, but still a fun six man, and they got in and got the job done. Like Susan said, it was under 10 minutes, but it was a fast paced 10 minutes, and I liked it. I went 2.5.
All right, and Logan, close this one out.
I really enjoyed it as well. I love the fast pacedness of it all. Anderson kind of selling the punch brigade as what I call it from the faces.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah,
was real top notch. Barry kind of believed in himself a little too much on one of the leapfrogs. He didn't quite clear. I can't remember who it was, but he does one on somebody and barely clears their head. As much as I talked about how athletic he was earlier. Arn kind of gets tired of getting his ass kicked at one point and tags in Larry, who equally comes in and gets his ass kicked. And Austin also kind of gets the same treatment as well until he kind of turns it around. Really good counter wrestling from Rhodes and Austin, kind of like you were talking about, Shawn. I thought that was really strong part of the match. We got a lot of heads gliding in this match. We got a lot of noggin knockers, I think is what they used to be called back in the day. Chaos kind of ensues as all the participants are in the ring towards the end. The Nux kind of end up getting used by both teams, and the faces score the victory. Very surprising that Michael P.S. Hayes got the pin in this one, but I went slightly higher than you guys, and I went 2.75.
All right. Clearly, though, the match of the weekend in this weekend. Clearly. So do you have a final tally on that one yet?
That would be a 2.56.
All right, so give the rundown on the 6, so we can shit all over this weekend.
All right, so that is our best match, just slightly over Arn and Barry.
Not good.
And then the cavalcade of shit. We ranked in order from bottom to top would be Hughes Eaton, followed by Bad Eaton. Followed by Medusa Bambi, and then the best of the worst is Sabisco Wyndham. So,
wow, what a cavalcade of shit this episode was. So let's jump. So a very different contrast than our last episode. So I think I know where we'll get this on a scale of 1 to 5 in this journey, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, all right, most dangerous. Who's the MVP in this, Souza?
Barry Windham by default.
Yeah, 100% for me, Barry Windham. Schiff?
I'm going with Medusa.
Oh,
Wait,
fuck you.
Wait. Why?
She was the best one out of the Dangerous Alliance.
Barry Windham wrestled 3 fucking matches.
Well, also, to be honest, I thought it was just Dangerous Alliance people we are.
Breaking. Oh, it can't be Barry Windham. Never mind. We got to go back. Sorry. That's right. We can only do most dangerous. Can't be.
Oh fuck. That's
God.
right.
We fucked up our own gimmick. Thank you, Ship.
You're welcome.
Thank you for calling us out on our bullshit, Matt. Now we're fucked.
Yeah, no, we are fucked. You're absolutely. Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna give it to Austin just because he was a good part of that tag.
We should give it to Bobby.
No,
Fuck
no.
no.
He is least dangerous.
Yeah, Steve Austin by default.
I am also going with Steve Austin.
Okay.
But Chip, thank you for calling us out on our bullshit. Thank you very much.
I was about to anyways. You're good. So.
By the way, that won't be the last time that happens, I'm sure.
It absolutely won't be.
All right. MVP, the least dangerous, Bobby Eaton.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
Eaton's got to get it on this one.
You taking Eaton over Medusa, Logan?
Yeah, he was in 2 stinkers. I can't. And the Medusa batch probably was a little better than I gave it credit for, but yeah, it's got to be Eaton on this
Guy caresses 1 pumpkin and he gets on the shit list.
I don't know what but these
he was the MVP on that show for me.
but these were taped before Havoc.
Right.
WCW, I mean, I think this episode clearly shows that WCW pre-taping everything a month and a half prior, it's a disaster. So we'll see how that plays out. All right. So scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. What would you give this episode in terms of what we talked about and watched as part of the Dangerous Alliance journey? I am going right to 1. Souza?
Yeah, one. They don't even know that the Dangerous Alliance is a thing that's gonna fucking happen yet. They don't have a clue. They didn't mention it. They didn't mention Paulie once. They didn't do any of that shit once. So I mean, like you said, this was taped before Havoc, and clearly that must have been a last minute thing, hooking up Paulie with Rick Rude, because they didn't even like hint towards that being a thing. So yeah, this gets a 1.
And I greatly look forward to the tag team of Bobby Eaton and Flying Brian Pillman that's going to be on this show.
Yep, and Barry Windham versus Abdullah the Butcher, I'm sure will be a banger that we'll never watch.
There's a lot of banger matches coming up on the podcast. Schiff, scale 1 to 5.
A 1 as well. This was a giant step back after being so hyped in our first episode. Like, there was, like you guys said, there was no mention of Rude, no mention of Paulie. Like, when they announced, like, when they talked about Medusa, they didn't talk about her and Paulie at all. Like, they needed someone to be like, hey, this is what we did for this. We need to tie all this together. Because if they're doing, like, JR doing voiceovers, he could have been doing voiceovers for this other stuff as well. Like, it's just really bad quality control.
Cut out the Medusa shit because it has no relevance beyond this episode.
Right.
Cut it out. Edit it out. Be done with it. There's no point in even having it. But, yeah, I mean, it's like everything that was on this show, it's almost like there's, besides just conveniently some of them being in matches together in terms of where the feuds are going, there's no context whatsoever to the journey they're on. Again, the early booking really, really fucks this watch that we did tonight over. Logan, what'd you think? I assume you're probably on that 1 scale too?
Yeah, I have to go 1 just to keep solidarity, of course. But it also, I'm not gonna assume that it doesn't get worse than this. But I imagine that this is probably the worst episode of this we're gonna do. I gotta assume that, but I could be wrong. We could have a worse one down the road. But...
Well, let me, before we close, let me tell you what we're watching on episode 3, and then see if you have context.
Oh no.
All right.
Jesus.
So episode 3, we are going to the weekend of November 9th and the weekends of November 16th. So we're going to cover 2 weekends. So we will have that Wyndham Simmons versus Enforcers match at the Bell 2, which has possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll go to Saturday night. And we will watch the York Foundation take on the Patriots of Bobby Eaton.
Oh,
I quit.
Jesus
I
Christ.
quit.
Oh, wait. It gets better.
Oh, good.
We will have a 6-man match. Another one of those maybe what doesn't fit like the other. We will have Dustin Rhodes, Tom Zink, Bobby Eaton taking on Austin and the Enforcers in a 6-man.
Mm-hmm.
Possibilities. Then we will go to the next Saturday night. Big Van Vader and Steve Austin as a team. Their opponents, Tom Zink and PN News in a tag team match. And last but not least, we will get our first wrestling appearance of Ravishing Rick Rude as he takes on Steve Armstrong.
Whose idea was this show?
All right, bump me up to 1.5 on the episode. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Bump me
up.
So be careful what you say when you say, well, it can't possibly get worse, because there's some in there that really have some possibilities.
All right, episode 3 is getting a 0.5 star.
We're not. Well, no, you know what? I could have not even told you what we're watching, but I wanted to give you a sneak peek to see what you. Here's the good news. Our next episode is the last episode before we get to the Clash, and that's the Clash is really where the rubber hits the road, right? So we got one more to make it through to get to the Clash.
I appreciate the sneak peek of the suck, Shawn.
I felt obligated after the disaster that these matches were tonight, and it will get better. Just go down as this pod episode number 2. Do not watch any of these matches with the exception of maybe the last one. Everything else, move on, forget about them. You don't need to watch them. All right, so let's close it out. So, Schiff, anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I like to plug YouTube Roulette on the Place to Be Pop feed. Place to Be Wrestling feed. Crock and Roll on the wrestling feed as well. And my Twitter at Scott_Shufflet.
All right, Souza?
Yeah, should be a new episode of YouTube Roulette out by the time you're hearing this. If you've never listened to that, that show is a ton of fun to do. We're all on that one. So well, three-fourths of us are on it most of the all the time. One of us, makes his Brock Lesnar like appearance every quarter or so. So
no, you're supposed to say the other one big times. Everybody jumps in when he wants to. That's what I was waiting for you to hear.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you can find me on the Extreme Three-Way Dance right here on the No So feed. So check that out if you've never listened to it. And you can follow me on Twitter at msouza1991.
All right, and Logan?
Yeah, I'll also talk about YouTube Roulette. We might actually watch a match that involves alley catch going into an ocean. So I know I know Matt Souza will be at attention during that match.
Full mast, good sir, full mast.
But Highway to the Impact Zone will have been past Bound for Glory at the point when this pod comes out. So that'll be the first Bound for Glory we're doing. We'll be building to the next pay-per-view at that point. Both of the salads, popcorn and wrestling. We did SummerSlam 95 for the August episode, and we you get to see batshit Matt on salad on this month's episode. So definitely check both of those out.
All right, and as for me, I do appear on pods sometimes. Sometimes I'm on, again, it's all scheduling. It's not that I'm big-timey people. It's just, it's funnier to say it that way, but it's just real life sometimes getting away, especially during the summer. I'm hoping at some point I can get back to a normal progression of being on those pods, because honestly, Highway to the Impact Zone and YouTube Roulette, I will tell you 100% are two of my absolute favorite to do, just because they're ridiculously insane majority of the time, especially when alcohol is involved, which are probably my favorite. But yeah, my main one, NWA Crock and Roll with Schiff. You can find me at NW, and all these are over on the PTBM Wrestling feed. And you can also find me at NWA Crock and Roll on Twitter. But yeah, so again, guys, episode number 2 in the books. I really think the first 2 episodes have been really solid. Maybe the episode number 2 wasn't as solid from a match standpoint, but I also think we got our point across in terms of how we really truly felt about it, which was amazing. So we will see what episode 3 has to bring on our way to the Clash. And episode 4, we'll cover that Clash with all the big matches that are happening and gets us one step closer to where we need to be as far as everybody being in Dangerous Alliance. And it's pretty cemented by the time we get to the Clash. Even though everything here has been pre-taped and everything on our next episode is pre-taped, by the time we get to the Clash, it's pretty cemented where we're headed in the booking. So hopefully that'll open up some doors for us and not keep us thinking we're going to have to watch Barry versus Abdullah, because there's nobody on this show that wants to watch that. So with that, I am Shawn Kidd, he's Matt Souza, Scott Shiflett, and Logan Crossland. We will see you in 2 weeks for episode number 3 of 7 Months of Danger. Thanks, guys.
You can make